All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Never Press Pause. This is episode 20. I am Bill Yarnell, gamertag YarnNasty590. To my right, we have
Jeremy Grant, KY Guy 78.
And we are live at Mario's with some pizza, good buffet, some good food, some good friends. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. On this Wednesday evening, I can see the puddles just piling up in the parking lot. The rain has not stopped for about a week and a half.
Yeah. I keep waiting for the arc to float by at any time.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad here and across the nation. I mean, rain, tornadoes after warning after warning. So not been the greatest of week and a half, but we're getting through it, and we're inside dry at Mario's, and like to thank them for having us out here.
Yep.
So with that being said, don't forget neverpresspause@yahoo.com. That's our email. You can hit us up there. You can follow us on Twitter @neverpresspause. And what did we the other day? Didn't you? How many tweets have you sent out from?
We have thrown up over 1,000 tweets.
Not we. Don't get we into this. You have thrown up over 1,000 tweets.
Yeah,
and ranging from Charlie Sheen being crazy to deals on Amazon to I saw the other day somebody talking about Papa John's.
Yeah,
one of
I've basically abandoned my own personal Twitter and have used the Never Press Pause Twitter.
So Twitter, it's going crazy. You're doing really well with it. Also, another good job with the blog. You've been doing really well with that, keeping that going and blogging some ideas and thoughts out there. So don't forget, guys, neverpresspause.com. If you like us, join us on Facebook right there. Hit like us. Get us some viewers up on that if you don't mind. And don't forget Tech Talk with Chad Hembree. We'd like to thank Hembree Studios and everybody that helps out and getting us going and still running. So this is our 20th episode. I don't think it's a Hallmark episode per se. I don't know. Like in marriage world, what's the 20th anniversary? Is it diamonds? Is it paper?
Patience.
Yes. After 20 years, you may need to have some patience.
Yeah.
So, but with that being said, let's hop into it. Finally back on Xbox. Just wrapped up my club volleyball season. Been on a couple times more than I'm used to, and really enjoying being back on the camaraderie, the partying up, and playing some games. But I'm gonna let you take over and tell me what you've been playing.
Well, I got into a little spell there with spring break and everything, where I was kind of playing some older games. The first game I'm actually going to talk about is a game I would recommend nobody play unless someone like dares you or something. It's a game called Wet. And by Bethesda, which Bethesda is the studio that publishes Fallout and Oblivion. And so now they've decided they're going to publish games besides, the RPGs and stuff. And this is like their action shooter. Kind of had a good look to it, a good feel. It's like an old 1970s grindhouse kind of thing. But the controls in that game may be the worst controls I've played since like Nintendo days.
Nintendo had like 2 buttons and a D-pad, so that's bad.
Yeah, the control. I played it on easy because I got so frustrated just trying to get it done, and I still would die multiple times because the controls were so bad. And it was like at the end, I wanted to stop, but I was so far into the game, like I will not let this game beat me. I'm going to take it down. And I did, and I got to the end of the game. I was like, well, the story was decent, and the story had me interested. And then you get to the end, and it's one quick time event, and the game's over.
Did you take the game out of the Xbox? Did you break it in half and throw it out your bedroom window like my brother did?
No. I'd gotten it from Blockbuster online, and so I immediately took it out, put it in the envelope. This was like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Put it in the envelope, walked to the street, put it in the mailbox that night, thinking if somebody steals this, they're going to get what they deserve.
Right, for stealing.
Yeah, so that's how quickly I wanted it out of my house.
So you didn't take like a key and like just scratch the back so nobody else had to go through that?
I didn't want to do that. Maybe there's some people that, maybe they're sadomasochists and they want to play a game like that.
Can I confide in you in something that I've done in the past? I got a movie from Netflix once. And said movie was not working in my DVD player. Now, at the time, it could have been my DVD player in hindsight, but it was a movie I really wanted to watch at the time because I had a little downtime. And, sometimes that's hard to come by. So the movie would not play. I even did the old, I don't know if you've ever tried this, put the DVD or CD in the toilet trick. Mind you, it's a clean toilet. And you put it in upside down and you flush it. And I'm telling you, it's worked. I've done this multiple times. It has worked. Still didn't work. I took the DVD out. I took a knife that I had just sitting around that I used to open envelopes, and I scratched until my hand almost got cut into the back of this DVD. Put it back in its sleeve. Did your trick. Walked out. I said, "Here you go, mailbox." Then got on my internet and said, "Netflix reproblemed. The back of the DVD was all scratched up." I did that.
There's an option. It just says like the DVD won't play. What?
I was mad.
Okay,
I was very upset.
Yeah, knowing how the Yarnells are. When
we get a little violent with our media. So that's our secret. I hope nobody else finds out about that. So all right, sorry. Back to
so after playing Wet, I played this game called Enslaved: Odyssey to the West. Had heard good things about it, and I was like, okay,
that's a little alien guy, right? Enslaved, Odyssey?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
And it takes place in the future. It's like post-apocalypse New York City, and this guy, he escapes, and along with this girl, her name is Trip, and she puts this headband on you that basically you are her slave. And she tells you, like, you've got to help me get home, and if you don't do what I tell you to, you're going to die. And I've got to say, I was pleasantly surprised. If I would have played this game 6 months ago when it came out, I would have been talking about it as one of my favorite games of 2010.
That good?
Yeah, the platforming was really good. It's got some puzzle elements to it, and the storytelling was really great.
Sounds along the lines of like Escape from LA or Escape from New York.
Very similar.
Like that.
Yeah, and it's only really has 3 or 4 voice actors in the cast. Andy Serkis, the guy who we know as being Gollum and stuff like that, basically helped come up with this idea. He voices the main character. Very interesting game. It's got one of those completely WTF endings.
Love the WTF. You've had a lot of those lately.
Yeah,
so some of the games you've been playing.
So I really enjoyed that. And then Tiger Woods 12, the new one. Have really enjoyed that. They've really refined the stick controls on the 360. Putting, like, if you don't pull that stick back and move it in a straight line, it's really intuitive about pulling it to the left or the right. And what I like about it is you can change the difficulty 2 ways. You can either start taking the assists away, so you don't get your putting line, you don't get to put the spin on the ball, or you can just make the scores that the AI gets more difficult. So you can kind of, all right, I'm feeling pretty good where I'm at now, but I don't want to turn off this stuff, so I'll just make the scores lower. And that has really made the game more challenging to me because I can go in and turn off different things and make the difficulty harder. So it's very, very fun. I'm still playing it right now.
I'm going to go ahead and real quick and let the audience know that you're back in my head again. This is the 3rd time today, mind you, that we have literally been like on the same page. We wrote an email at this exact same time about a protractor of all things, math protractor. Email goes out, mine's right behind it with the almost exact same words about going to save Bailey in case of a tornado with a stapler. Hey, that's where it started.
Yes.
I was going to give you a 3-hole punch, but that was the weapon of choice you took to beat the tornado.
Before you ever typed it in, I was like, I'm taking a 3-hole punch.
And as I'm typing, and then we did the protractor that we might want to bring in case the compass doesn't work. And then just now, I was going to ask you about the difficulty, bumping it up, moving it around, and stuff like that. So I would ask that you maybe get out of my head.
Okay.
It's getting a little creepy, and there's only room for one up here.
Yeah,
bouncing around ideas and stuff. It's crazy up there. So stay away. Anything else you've been playing? Because I really want to get into the Tiger Woods, but I'm not. I never invest in a $60.
No, I mean I've played a lot of stuff lately, just trying to get I played a little bit of Bayonetta. That's a good game. It's Japanese as all get out. It's weird. I had to give up on it because I just could not follow what was happening anymore. And I'm like, I got to know the story, or I've got to know I'm doing something, and it was too much flashback and stuff like that. I played the WWE All-Stars game. That was pretty fun. Just kind of stupid arcade wrestling, but kind of neat to be Jake the Snake and those guys again.
Does he bring the bag with the snake?
No,
because that would remember that, and he would put it like the big bow on.
Yeah, no, I will say they do a good job with like the cut scenes and like they set it up. So like, what if Stone Cold Steve Austin fought CM Punk today? And they take like the interview footage, and it almost looks like they're talking to one another the way they cut it. Which WWE has always been very good about how they present things like that. So yeah, just kind of been playing a lot of stuff. I downloaded Castle Crashers. We played some of that. The Snoopy Flying Ace was like 400 points, and for the flying games for $5, that's pretty good. I'd heard it was good. I mean, I love Snoopy, but I'd heard it was a good flying game. It is for $5. When it was on sale, I would recommend it. So I've kind of been into a lot lately, but I keep coming back to Tiger Woods,
y'all. I'm going to go right there into what you just said and playing some stuff. Some reason, what had happened? Xbox did a great deal and started doing a couple deals of the day for downloadable content and stuff like that. And I ended up getting Toy Soldiers. We got Castle Crashers. Mm-hmm. And what did we get last night, Rusty? Fortress Craft, which is like Minecraft ripoff, but you've got your avatar out in the 360 world. And we were partied up. Rusty had Fendrix in his group. I had Bailey in mine. And we were trying to build houses and dig down and find little things. But just something neat. It was like 260 points, I think. Nice and easy. You're down there digging and building and trampolines and stuff like that. You can find little things inside the dirt. But basic little stuff. But I tell you what, Toy Soldiers I've been talking about since it came out and played the demo. It finally went on sale from $1,200 to $800. I had to pick it up. I picked that up. And me and Matt Kenny played co-op or against each other 2v2 or 1v1 last night, and he stomped me into the ground. But fun game. I really enjoy it. It's a castle defense. Kind of meets, you get into the equipment and actually shoot little toy soldiers. I was just playing that to Rusty today. Been playing a lot of Fallout New Vegas. I know I'm a little late on that game, but like I said, I was busy. I didn't play for a while. Me and Duder was playing that for a while. And
what I like about you is when you get into games like that, I was getting the text messages like, where do I go here? Like when you went to Novak and you were like, what do I do? Is it this person? Is it that person? And I walked that line because do I just tell him? So he just goes and does it, or do I let him kind of find out? But it was like I was getting ready to tell you where to go, and you'd I figured it out. So that's what I like about when you get into games, you get into them.
I do, and I really enjoy Fallout New Vegas. I don't know if it's the different scenery or what, but it's tough, man. It's not like one of those games that you're just going to go walk around out like I did in the other one. After you're like a level 11, you can just walk the whole wasteland. This one, rad scorpions and death claws, they're coming at you, and they're going to rip your head off.
Yeah, I think this game does a much better job of kind of scaling the enemies to where you're ranked at, because by the time in Fallout 3, by the time you were at 20, and then when you got the DLCs up in the 30s, there was basically nothing that could touch you. And this one, I never felt okay, I'm going to be able to kill anything that gets in my way.
Yeah. So, and that's kind of good to know. But it is also nice that I can pick up companions. Picked up Boone the other day. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go look for a dog. Go see a man about a dog sometime.
Talk to the king.
I still can't get to Vegas. I cannot get to Vegas. I cannot physically get there because I die every time going.
Yeah.
So, I'm working my way slowly through this one, doing a lot of side missions at the same time. But also, got Lego Star Wars 3. And we know how much I love the Lego games. We'll talk about the Lego Pirates Caribbean coming out in May. But Lego Star Wars 3, got that. It's all based on the Clone Wars. And I never once would be like, oh, you know what? You're that Star Wars nerd. You're that guy that loves Star Wars. And now, I couldn't name, every system and, the Dagobah systems. Mm-hmm. I couldn't name all those off. But, I know Hoth is made of ice. I know Dagobah and some other ones. But the Clone Wars, really cool concept. I love the cartoons on Cartoon Network. Mm-hmm. I recorded them for 3 years, and then my brother would come and he'd be like, oh, DVR needs some space. Oh, it's a stupid cartoon. I don't watch it, and he would delete it, and then we'd fist fight, and then go from there. But Star Wars Legos 3, different. It's got some different game modes. It's going kind of cool, almost like a tower defense, but not so much in a big open field. I just unlocked this the other day, and you got to go take over little domes, and you got to make them blue, and the enemy's red, and you got to fight them and destroy theirs, and then take that over, and you've got a certain amount of time. So that was kind of cool, but you know me, I love going to collect the little Legos. The best thing I think about Legos and all these games is the replay value. Mm-hmm. Because you don't go through the game once and get everything. It's the second time through, once you've unlocked all these characters and get these red bricks and stuff like that that's when it really becomes fun because you unlock everything on a board and you've got the gold bricks and you've got all the mini kits, and then you go back and look at them and stuff. But it's kind of cool. All the red bricks seem to be located in the destroyer, which works out pretty cool. But like I said, Lego Star Wars 3, loving it. And let's talk about Mortal Kombat. Let's give Bailey a shout out. He's been wearing out some Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. And some Crisis 2. So it was Crisis 2. That's all we heard about for about a month.
Which will be all we hear about because me and Robbie just ordered it.
And then now the last week or so, all we've heard is Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And he's beaten the game. He said as for a fighting game, it's got the best story mode he's ever played. The challenge ladder, he said, was really good. And he said there's a lot of cool little throwbacks to the older Mortal Kombat games and stuff like that.
Like the little guy that would pop off screen and be like, woohoo!
Then they got Toasty. That guy. Yeah.
Ruffy, let's talk real quick since you're here in the audience. We appreciate you being here. You got it for Xbox. Bailey got it for PlayStation. We'll talk about PlayStation's big hot mess they're in right now. You were talking about the other night that you have to pay to play. On top of being on Xbox Live, you have to pay to play.
You have to get this thing called Combat Pass. It basically lets you go online. And you get a little code whenever you buy the game.
But if you buy it used, you don't get that.
No.
But you can still buy in. If you buy a used copy, can you buy from the dashboard?
You buy it from
Yeah, you still got to pay for it. It's what EA is doing with their sports games.
Give you like a 2-day trial just to get you started into it.
Give you a little taste.
Yeah.
Any good dealer knows that.
Yeah, got to get you hooked. So, but I think what he's saying, that's not anything unique to games now. Like I was reading EA Sports has basically said, we're not going to give you a pass with every game. Now we're going to sell you like a $25 a year, and you get access to all this stuff for Tiger Woods, NCAA football, Madden. So instead of even worrying about buying the game to get the code, you're just going to pay money up front and say, screw the code, I've already paid my year in advance. And they're saying this is going to be anywhere from $25 to $35.
But for me, I think that cuts down on a lot of the casual gamers online play, which I don't know that I've ever played a Tiger Woods game online, to tell you the truth.
I did before I had to pay.
How was it?
It was fun because you got to do those online tournaments and stuff, but that's a part like I can do without that.
Right.
I don't need that. But I know
about leveling Tiger Woods.
Yeah, I know there are people who buy NCAA football and Madden just so they can play the online dynasties and the online franchises. And when I had those, I could do them for free. Sure, I'll try them. But now that I have to pay for them, no. I
but
can
you can still play seasons.
Yeah, I can get enough out of the game on my own. So but I think this is something you're seeing more and more is because of used games. We got to get that money back somewhere. So if we can charge you $5 or $10 to get you to play online, that's $5 or $10 that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise.
All right, so clearly right now we're seeing both sides of the coin, and like I said, I'm not a big fan of it. I just don't like where it's going. But World of Warcraft's been doing it for over a decade now.
Yeah.
So and people pay. Clearly, people pay, and they live in the basement with their mothers. So it's not a big deal, I guess. But I'm just kidding, all you World of Warcraft fans out there. Live it up. Enjoy the grenade, the Mohawk grenade.
Mohawk grenade, fool.
But with that being said, we will come back with why PlayStation 3's in a lot of hot water and what we've been watching. Don't forget, this is episode 20 of Never Press Pause. All right, fans, welcome back to Never Press Pause. This is episode 20, a special episode. We are live in front of an audience, and we are back at Mario's once again. Dylan has finally joined us in the studio. Glad to see you, Dylan. Hope everything's okay.
Even lightning cannot stop.
You can only hope to contain DJ Snipe. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Only hope to contain him. But it is glad to see you. Glad you can make it, bud. We are at Mario's tonight, so thank them for having us out here. Thank Tech Talk and Hembree Studios. Thank Dwayne. Thank Brad with his mushmouth hat. And
Albert.
And everybody else that showed up. Thank you guys so much. We got Ty out there. We got Jay. And we got Ty's fiance now. Am I right? Congratulations on that. So we got Mr. Buttery in the house that just got done wrapping up. And old Nick over there looking all creepy like, hey, Nick, how are you, fella? I see you. All right. All right, we just got back from break. We talked about what we've been playing. Now let's move on to, do we want to go into the PlayStation Network? Do we want to get into that, or let's talk about what we've been watching real quick, and then we'll turn it right over to that, because that's a huge story.
Yeah, so I watched Love and Other Drugs the other night.
You told me not to.
Yeah, don't bother yourself. You get to see Anne Hathaway naked quite a few times, but it's really not worth it. You can probably find it on the internet, like stills or something.
Okay.
It started like the first 30 minutes. I was like, this isn't going to be a bad movie, but then it became a bad movie. I started, got caught back up on 30 Rock. I've got a few episodes behind. It's getting really good. They just had their 100th episode.
You say a few episodes, I say a few seasons, because I'm like on episode 8 of season 1 still.
Yeah, and I'm going to mention, my mom actually recommended this show to me. My mom loves all like detective crime shows. So she mentioned this show called Castle, which has Nathan Fillion in it. And it's about this author that he writes crime books, and he's following around this detective. And I got the first season off Netflix. Watched it. It's pretty fun. It's only like 10 episodes or something. I liked it. It wasn't like as serious as CSI or some of these other shows. It's more of like a comedic kind of show. And then I'm just going to mention it because I was so disappointed. But Winwalk saw Scream 4 last week. Rushed out of school to get there to watch the 3.
Yeah, you were like building this up all week.
And I will say the first 30 to 45 minutes I thought was really good for a Scream movie. I was like, they're still mentioning some of the beats, but then it just became just a regular old horror movie. And then at the end, when they reveal the killer or killers, I won't spoil it for anyone, but I'd figured it out already who was doing it. I'd figured out the motive. And you get to the end and they tell you the motive and you're like, dude, that's kind of clever. And if they would have stopped the movie right then, I would have been perfect, like, okay, great ending. But then there's another like 10 or 15 minutes that basically I felt the last 10 or 15 minutes was to justify the last joke in the movie.
And they could have just left it.
Yeah, because they make a lot of references to movies being remade and them trying to, kind of rebuild the horror movie genre, which is what Scream did. And, there's a lot of little clever plays on that. But like I said, I felt that last 10 or 15 minutes was tacked on to make one final joke about remakes. And then, so I was a little disappointed by that. But,
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of remakes or redefining horror genre, and Scream did that for us.
Mm-hmm.
I went to watch it in the theaters and didn't know anything about it, loved it. Insidious is supposed to be the next big thing in horror movies. Like I've heard nothing but great things. I've not seen it. Some of the kids at school have seen it.
It seems like the horror movie genre, we've got away from the slasher. Like we Scream and all that stuff had kind of brought back your Michael Myers, your Freddy, those slasher kind of movies.
With a twist, though.
Yeah, then we got into Saw and like the torture porn kind of horror movies. And then now it seems like we're getting more into...
Did you say torture porn?
Yeah, that's what they are.
All right. Just making sure, because like the whole room just kind of stopped and was
that's what they call them in in the movie biz. But now it seems like we have gotten into, like with Paranormal Activity and Insidious, these movies where now it's back into like the supernatural. And it seems like we go through cycles. We're back in the 70s with The Omen and The Exorcist. It was the supernatural. And then we got into Halloween and Friday the 13th. And so we're getting into this... cycle again where now it's that unknown stuff, the demons and everything that we're scared by.
And I don't do scary, so I'm going to leave that for you. But anything else good out there that you've been checking out? Or
no, I mean, I've got Black Swan coming on my Netflix. I've got King's Speech. I want to give it another go just, now.
Just so I can prove you wrong, even though you beat me at the Oscars.
Yeah, seeing it again. I just want to watch it again now, just to,
Well, okay, let's talk about watching it again, because with Black Swan, I know Matt had seen it when we had Matt on for the Oscar special. What do we think about Natalie Portman not doing like 80% of the dancing?
I don't think it mattered. I don't think her award was based on, wow, she could dance. I think it was based on her portrayal of the character. But that's like saying, in the Transformers movies, that's not really a robot doing that stuff. That's a computer.
Are you telling me right now on live air that Optimus Prime is not real?
No.
We'll have words after the show,
Okay.
sir. No, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, they didn't even question her about it, and she just denied it flat out. Just said,
Well, she never said how much. She said, I did dancing for the movie. She never said, I did all of the dancing. So Natalie Portman has never came out and tried to pass off the fact that, hey, I did all of this. I think what has kind of fueled this even more is that Darren Aronofsky came out and said, I went and had my editors go back, and they went and looked, and she's doing like 85% of the dancing in the movie. And they had somebody else from like one of the websites, like Ain't It Cool or Screened or something, went back and looked and were like, if you watch the Blu-ray frame by frame, she is not dancing in 85% of that movie. So now it's like, why are they trying to cover this up? And like I said, the dancer, that's a part of that movie, but it was not the acting that Natalie Portman did.
I have Natalie Portman up on a pedestal, and just hearing that kind of stuff, it makes you think. But it's like you said, her acting is what gets her the Oscar. Her acting is what's gotten her all these parts, and she does a great job. She's a great actress. So maybe she's not going to be on Dancing with the Stars anytime soon, because she probably, according to this, wouldn't win it. But at the same time, it just hurt a little bit. It cut me deep, Shrek. It cut me real deep. That's all I'm saying. Speaking of Shrek, I watched Megamind. And Guardians. What was the Guardian movie?
The Guardians of Lowell or something like that.
I watched those two. Megamind was awesome. Much better than I thought it was going to be. Did a really good job with that. Will Ferrell cracking me up. Guardians, decent storyline. Same old. Got to go save the day, meet up.
I didn't know.
I'm a real guardian.
I didn't know that Zack Snyder, the guy who did Watchmen and who's going to do the new Superman movie, did that Guardians. Yeah, did not know that. Really
well done. And even without it being in 3D, like the scenes where they slowed it down and he's spinning through the water and like really cool scenes, especially for animation. I mean, it's animated, but it looks so. Once you're into those kind of movies, you're just like, holy cow. Been doing a lot of Netflix like instant stream, and one of them I picked up was Spartacus: Sand and Blood, and it's amazing. So Ty seems to like it. A little softcore pornish, maybe, if you will. A little Skinamax, late at night, but some good. It was almost like 300 meets Gladiator meets softcore Skinamax, late at night. But it was a good storyline. It stayed good, and then. It builds it up to the very end, and if you know the story of Spartacus, he's a slave, defies an empire, and at the very end, it's go time. Like, he gets real with it, and you're like, okay, wow. And it took me... And then they did, I think, 6 prequels, and they went back, and I was ready to get out of the, gladiator stuff. Okay, you guys have been in the ring, you guys have been fighting in the arena, let's get out and let's see what you're doing. Out in the real world, when you're defying the empire, and it's not gotten to that. That's kind of pretty much where it's, hey, we're here. But a very good show. I really did enjoy it.
Well, do you know the reason they went back and did the prequels? The guy who plays Spartacus has cancer, and so he's going in for treatment. So they had to go back because they wanted to keep the show going, and so they went back and done this prequel.
Well, the prequel's very well done.
I haven't seen any of the prequel, but I did see the first Spartacus, the original series, and I thought that was pretty good.
I really, and it's no, he's no Kirk Douglas.
True.
I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. Which one of you pick up? Which
one
are you? Yeah. Okay, because we'll kill you all. That's the way they're seeing it. So, also Easy A came out on InstaQ, and I tell you what, Easy A, best part of the movie were the adults. A movie about a high school girl, and the adults were the best part. The father in that movie, if I'm a producer or director, I'm taking him in the next comedy I make. And I'm putting him, if not in a mediocre role, just a side role, but he is hilarious.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm over the top. Like, it's like deadpan.
Yeah.
Like, honestly seems like,
you could come home to that, and that could be your dad, and he'd just be joking around. And it would be awesome to have that.
Yeah, Stanley Tucci is the dad in that.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
New show just came out on HBO, and I have not been able to watch it, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Game of Thrones,
based on a book series. Bailey's not able to make it tonight, but he really seems to be enjoying it. And you trying to get into it?
Well, I watched the second episode last night, knowing that we were going to be coming in here today. The first episode I thought was kind of slow, but it was similar to what we had talked about with Boardwalk Empire. It's like, it's the first show. We've got to give you a lot of backstory. Here's who all these people are. And I will say very quickly, the second episode streamlined the story down. And the way that the second episode ends has got me interested to watch the rest of the season now, because you totally think, oh, they're never going to have what happens happen. You're not going to do that in the second episode. That's going across a line. And it totally does, but in a way you're not expecting. And I'm just like, wow, I want to see where this show's going. If they're willing to do some of these things and take some of these chances and do some things, like, I'm like, no, you're not going to do that. And they do that. It's got me interested now. I'm ready to watch the rest of this season. I just hope the rest of the season kind of continues with that and that doesn't kind of back off.
And like I said, I've been killing it on Netflix watching. I finished up Office season 6.
Mm-hmm.
They've got over 100 episodes of The Office up there now, and it's kind of neat when you're instant streaming. It doesn't just say you've got to pick up all of season 1. It's like season 1 through season 6 is now on there.
Now,
you go through all
that's the thing
episodes.
is I like is now it says like season 1, and you click on it and it gives you those episodes season 2, and that was my main complaint with the instant streaming is not so much the movies, but the TV series I thought were limited. And then now you're getting, you're getting all of these shows, like they've got Glee on there now. And they've got every episode of Scrubs. So it's newer shows. It's shows that are currently on.
I watched episode 1 and 2.
Sons of Anarchy's on there now. I hadn't watched the second season, so I'm in the middle of that now. So I mean, we love Netflix. We've talked about it all the time on here.
Yeah.
That is just getting stronger and stronger.
Real quick, Mark jumped in. Season 2 is in the works with a new lead guy for Spartacus. So apparently they are going to go ahead without him. He did a great job. But hopefully recovers well and gets through the cancer. So good luck to that. That being said, that's about all I've been watching, trying to catch up on, and just watching Netflix now. And I got the 3 still coming to the house, and I got some of the Oscar nominations coming in, so I'm pretty excited about that. But all right, let's get into it. Let's do some news.
Okay.
Breaking news, not so much because it's about a week and a half or a week ago. Sony PlayStation Network crashes. Not only does it crash, it was hacked to pieces. Hacked to pieces.
And it's still down. It's been down since the 19th, and they're saying it may be up by the end of this week. And I've got to say, there's been several websites that I've been kind of going to, checking the information. Giant Bomb, that I've mentioned on here several times, has been on top of it. Basically, this is what Sony has said. The people who hacked have access to your name, address, email address, birth date, your PlayStation Network password and login, and also profile data, including purchase history, billing addresses, and they have not came out and said credit cards, but they have also there have been people who have said that they have the pay PlayStation Network account. I don't know what they call that, but they have gotten emails saying that if you have a credit card tied to your account, you may want to call and cancel it.
I know Mr. Buttrey, he was on earlier with Tech Talk, and he said he actually received an email from PlayStation. Matt, did you receive an email from PlayStation yet about the whole crash? Matt, do you know that there was a crash?
It was mainly I know they were hitting the pay customers first, and then, like I was telling you now, there's a class action lawsuit now that's filed because they're just it was a guy in Alabama said you didn't protect my data the way you're supposed to. So they're predicting that this could be billions of dollars of information that they have.
And you were talking about a credit card, a one-man credit card operation that this is being compared to, and that was like $130 million. To me, this is unprecedented. Like, this will set the standard of protection and trying to stop these hackers. This will turn a page in history of online gaming and everything else.
What it has been compared to is that 2 years ago, Heartland Payment Systems, which is basically a middleman, like when you go to Amazon or somebody, they take your payment. They were hacked, and gave up 130 million credit cards and debit cards. But what they're saying is that with PlayStation, it's even worse because they just got the numbers. With PlayStation, they got the numbers, the address, everything they need to go buy stuff. So, so you're looking at PlayStation doesn't have the number of subscribers that Xbox Live does, but I mean, you're looking at the PlayStation 3 in Japan is bigger. Now they're getting, this is an international incident because Canadian users, Japanese users, the FBI is getting involved in this because of the international ramifications this is going to have.
So what if this is like, okay, here's my two theories. This is some 15-year-old kid testing his limits and seeing if he could do it, and he says, oh, I accidentally did that. Like, I can see Dylan Jones sitting at home one night on his laptop and being like, I could hack Sony PlayStation Network, and then he's like, oh, I just did that. Like, that just happened. Or, my other option, Skynet jumps online, is becoming self-aware, and we're all...
Yeah, well, I mean, James Cameron told us it was becoming self-aware on April 20th.
And look at it now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the 19th was when it really started.
So PlayStation Network actually is Skynet, and it's become self-aware. And if we don't get a John Connor soon, we're doomed.
One of Giant Bomb's last updates, they've got basically an attorney, but he's the director of research at SANS Institute of Computer Information Research Organization, and he says with a hacking of this big, that he would almost bet that it's tied to organized crime. So like the mafia or the Yakuza or something, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, as high as gas is, the mafia just being like, you know what, we've tapped the drug market, we've tapped all this other stuff, we got to get into video games. The Illuminati.
The Illuminati. Okay, so we've got a lot of theories floating out there. Send us your thoughts. Let us know what you think.
I think it was Colonel Mustard with a candlestick.
Wait, in what room, though? In the billiard room or the kitchen?
I think in the server room, yeah.
I thought it was Miss Peacock with the rope. All right, with that being said, we also were talking about cloud before we got started tonight. You want to give them a little shout out about
Amazon's cloud system went down. I think it was Thursday or Friday. It was down for a couple of days. They still haven't really said I haven't seen what they said that was, and it affected Giant Bomb, Foursquare, Reddit, some different a lot of big name websites, and basically crippled them, like could not do anything.
Skynet.
Yeah. And so with that and the PlayStation, because a lot of people were trying to think like, oh, was this cloud thing and PlayStation Network, are they linked? And, if they had have been, I mean, you can only imagine, these other, like Foursquare, they know where you are. So now not only do they have information, but they know where I'm at.
Well, you do a pretty good job of posting where you're at at all times anyway.
Yes.
All right, well, real quick before we head into the break, it's like Matt said, you got 77 million people on the PlayStation Network that's been hacked. He said the odds of them using your credit card is about as high as winning the lottery. He ain't scared. Thank goodness he doesn't have his credit card on there.
I don't have my credit card on there either.
So. But with that being said, we are at Mario's doing a live show. It's been absolutely wonderful having the audience in. When we get back, hopefully we'll get a couple questions from them. We're going to take a break. This is Never Press Pause, episode 20. All right, fans, welcome back to Never Press Pause. This is episode 20, a very special episode because we are back live at Mario's. Got a nice little crowd. Butters and Craig have just joined us. Craig walking 6 miles through the pouring rain, lightning, and thunder, scared out of his wits.
So we're like people. They get their houses struck by lightning. They walk through storms. That is the dedication that our small but loyal group of fans have.
Yeah, what about Wow?
We will not even comment on Mr. Bailey or
Bailey's taking care,
if you will.
He's taking care of.
He's probably at home playing Crisis. Yeah,
the Mortal Kombat.
So, with that being said, let's get right back at it. Episode 20, live at Mario's. Thanks for everybody being out. Thank you, Mario's, for having us. And Grant, give me some new releases. What's coming out?
All right, coming out. Well, this week it's kind of a dead week. There wasn't really any big DVDs coming out. No video games because they all came out last week. 3 movies coming out in theater and wide release. The first one is Prom. It's a Disney movie, and it's about the prom. So I guess now that
High School Musical?
yeah. And then
I hope Rebecca Black is in
I hope
that.
she is. Hoodwink 2, Hood versus Evil.
Real quick, Hoodwinked. I'm pretty sure that is the movie where I got the word awkward because the stork comes through and he's like, awkward. And then
it
walks
is.
off screen. And then that bred into Awkward Turtles. And that was years ago, but there's the
first Hoodwink that was really good. Anne Hathaway was the voice of Little Red Riding Hood. Not so much on this one. Hayden Panettiere is in here now. Giving some Mario's cards again. Thanks to Mario's for having us out here. They've got gift cards now, buffets, all that good stuff. So thank them again for having us out here. The big movie coming out this week, Fast 5. The Fast and the Furious 5. Got it all. If you have been in a Fast and the Furious movie, you are in this one. They've got the original gang back. They've got Tyrese back from the second one. And then they have The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is in this one as well. The Fast and the Furious movies, they're enjoyable. Sure, it'll make a lot of money this weekend. Then next week coming out on DVD, The Dilemma with Vince Vaughn and Kevin James, and then The Green Hornet, Seth Rogen. I'm looking forward to watching that one. Then in theaters next week, 3 movies, a lot of counter programming going on. Jumping the Broom, which I saw the previews for Scream 4. Looked like it might be kind of a good date movie. It's a family goes to a wedding and the families don't like one another. And then Something Borrowed. It's another Kate Hudson chick flick. But the big movie coming out, and it kind of will signal the summer movie season, Thor comes out next week. And then in video games next week, nothing really to mention except one thing, the new Call of Duty Black Ops Escalation map pack coming out.
Real quick, have we even discussed or talked about the maps that are coming out? I think right now everybody with this one is so pumped up, and how big they're building up is the zombies. Almost going to be worth it just to play zombies, I think. Yeah,
and I think, I couldn't even really tell you what the maps were. I know one of them's in a zoo. And then the zombie, it's not just 4 guys trying to, stop a wave. Now the trailer has made it like it's one of these old slasher flicks, and they have Danny Trejo, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Robert Englund, and Michael Rooker as the 4 people that are trying to stop the zombies on a boat. And it just looks like I want to buy the map pack just so I can play the zombies.
Well, they got zip lines in this one. They're going to have some cool either cutscenes or some voiceovers. So it's looking like it's going to be awesome. I know Ruffy last night would not shut up about it. Loving it, talking it up big time. You saw it today, and it does. The trailer looked really good.
Yep.
So that's our new releases.
Yep.
I also want to give a shout out to, of course, Lego's Pirates of the Caribbean.
It's coming.
Can't wait to. I know, coming in May. Cannot wait to get that game. Also coming out in about 3 weeks, I think it is The Priest.
Coming to theater, yes.
It's coming to theater.
Comes out the 13th. Comes out the week after Thor.
And just the star in that movie, and it's about demons and stuff like that. I'm really excited for that. So looking forward to that as well. So those are my 2.
Also, if you want to look at something coming out that next week, the week of the 13th, LA Noire, Rockstar's new game that I've been talking about for 2 or 3 months now, and then everybody's like, what's this LA Noire game? I've had it pre-ordered since January, but it looks awesome, and that'll be out here in 3 weeks as well.
Sounds good. Also, coming up this Saturday will be the UFC fights, and wow, great card. Like Ty just said, or was that?
Yeah, that was Ty.
GSP is fighting Shields.
Yeah, Jake Shields in the welterweight. Shields was the Strikeforce champion. He came in. His first match in UFC, I thought he should have lost on the decision, but basically they had him in that fight. Now he's taking on GSP. I think you're going to see GSP beat him up for 5 rounds, much like he did with Koscheck. The only prayer Shields has is if he can take GSP to the ground, but I don't think his ground game is good enough to keep GSP down.
Yeah, I think GSP will wear him down. Another big fight is Jose Aldo, that's what I said, versus Mark
Hominick.
Yep, that's what I said too.
And that's the featherweight championship. And Aldo was the Strike Force featherweight champion, and he is a bad dude. If you have not seen him fight yet, the UFC, they're setting that up. Hominick will give him a good fight, but Aldo is the real deal. Like, that should be a good fight.
And those are two titles.
Those are two title
fights
yep.
that night. On top of the fact that we get to watch Randy Couture and Machida, the Dragon, fight. I cannot wait. Machida's been my favorite for the last almost year now.
This is Machida's first fight since Shogun knocked him out. This is Randy Couture has came out and said, "This is my last fight. I'm retiring after this one." It's a very interesting mix. Couture is going to try to just get on him, hug him, keep him on the ground. Machida does not want that at all. Machida wants to stand up and strike. So it will be interesting to see whose style wins out. Because that's what Shogun did to Machida. He was able to get hands on him and, knocked him out. And should have won the first fight, and that's what Couture is going to want to do. So we'll be able, it'll be an interesting fight to see the styles.
Real quick, Mark Sully, he's been on the show. He just wrote Shields beats GSP. I think he's just doing it as the underdog. I don't know why he likes to root for the underdog. But
I'll tell you, if you're in Vegas and you can put money down on Shields, he's a big dog right now. He's a big underdog in that fight.
So Mark, there you go. Go to Vegas real quick and make the bet. So I just bet Mark $5.
I'll take that action too.
You want it with G Baby too, Mark? Let us know. But we are going over to his house to watch the fight, so that may be a little tough. That's UFC fights coming up this Saturday. Really good card. One of the best cards probably in the last 2 years.
Yeah, and they're setting up. It's like they kind of do one or two kind of so-so ones, and then they've been having like every third or fourth one has been a really, really good card.
So, and this one's probably like I said, it's one of the best.
Yeah, like the one we got 6 weeks ago now with Shogun and John Jones. It was a decent card. John Jones is a real deal.
Yeah, that was a great fight.
And the rest of that card, there was some solid fights, but none of these kind of marquee fights like you're getting this Saturday.
Fair enough. Real quick, Hulu Plus coming to Xbox Live. Another big news. So I'm basically just thinking maybe cable's out the door.
Yeah, it's getting to that point where why do you need dish or
Does
cable?
Hulu do HBO?
No.
So that may be why.
But Hulu will get you anything on network.
So
Netflix will get you the HBO stuff, eventually.
A little late.
Yeah. So I mean,
it's coming down to where cable's going to be obsolete almost.
Yeah.
So all you're going to need is an Ethernet.
Well, and that's another controversy is now the DirecTV has signed an agreement with several movie studios that 6 weeks from the time the movie is released in the theaters, they'll be able to show it, and that's 2 weeks before it could ever come out on video. So now the theater owners are upset because they don't get those long runs, and then now the people who make the DVDs are upset, the video stores and people are upset because now we've lose this exclusivity that we have. So it's getting kind of crazy out there in the movie industry.
Keep up with the times, So... But it is what it is. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. So I hope it, I'm all for it. I love me some streaming live Netflix. And I also, I even like getting the DVDs in. I do like putting a DVD into the tray. That's nice and all. Not done Hulu so much, but I mean, everything's out there now. So go for it. Cover of Madden 12. Who do we got?
Peyton Hillis was named the winner today on ESPN, beating out the dog killer. Michael Vick. So kind of glad that people voted for, a guy who deserves to be on the cover, Peyton Hillis.
You're still hating on Michael Vick.
Well,
when are we going to let this go?
Never. I mean, it's like people would, like O.J. Simpson's going to be on the cover of the Madden game. People would be like, oh, how could you do that?
He killed humans.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. Allegedly, he was never convicted in a court of law.
Dogs have feelings.
Michael Vick was convicted in a court of law. But yeah, I think Peyton Hillis is a guy nobody had ever heard of him. He comes in, he leads the NFL in rushing. He plays for a crappy team.
A very crappy team.
That's a guy that needs to be on the cover. Michael Vick, he's the Showtime. Kind of would have liked to see him be on the cover so he'd get the curse and break a leg or something next year.
I was going to say, what about the curse? Are we going with this one?
Well, now they're saying the curse isn't such a big deal since Drew Brees was on last year. They had a good season. Saints didn't go to the Super Bowl, but he had a good season. So yeah, that was announced today, actually on ESPN Sports Nation, that Peyton Hillis will be the cover athlete, and they announced last week that Mark Ingram is going to be on the cover of NCAA 12.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. With that being said, that pretty much does it for the show, news-wise and everything else. Let's go ahead. We got a live audience. We got some kids out here. We got some adults out here.
We got about 5 minutes.
We got about 5-6 minutes. Let's go ahead and answer some questions. I'm going to go ahead and start with the internet real quick. I got one from Troy that's been up here forever. If you had to label yourself as the Three Stooges, who would you be? Mo, Curly, or Larry?
I think just size-wise, I'd have to be Curly.
All right. I think Mo was kind of like the leader of the group.
Yeah.
I guess I'll take Mo. I don't know. I wasn't a big Three Stooges fan. Never will be. Never have been.
I think
the lost one. So
that means
Troy,
Bailey would be Larry.
You may be the weirdest kid, Troy. He may win the weird one.
Yeah.
I know you got a couple questions.
Yeah, one of them I thought, what's a movie or game that everyone else loves but you hate? I know my answer is Halo.
Yeah, I was going to say. And it was Halo 3 more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I like the campaign, but I don't understand how people find the multiplayer enjoyable. Like, it's just, I'm going to point my gun at you and pull the trigger, and maybe you die first, maybe I die first. Who knows what happens? I think Halo is completely overrated. Yeah, that's my answer.
If I had to go back to the Nintendo days, it would have to be Metroid. And Zelda wore me out after, like, the 7th castle. But the 7th dungeon, the one that I probably the most, that I get the most slack for is Mass Effect 1 and 2. I've yet to play 2. Mass Effect 1, I know I'm getting dirty looks right now from Ruffy. I can't get into it.
Well, and I was like you, and I kind of had to push through it. But once I kind of got to that point, it was kind of like with Fallout 3.
See, and that's the thing with Fallout 3. I did push through that point, and I got to that point, and then I'm like, yes. And now I love Fallout. Yeah. Even the start of Fallout New Vegas I love. I just, Oblivion and Mass Effect. I guess I'm not really a big RPG fan, So that would have to be mine. You got one more question?
What is the summer movie coming out that you're looking forward to? The one you're looking forward to the most?
I'm really looking forward to The Priest, but that's coming out early. But of course, you got to go Harry Potter and Part 2 of the Deathly Hallows. I mean, it's going to be the blockbuster, the big winner.
I would say Transformers, Dark Side of the Moon, or whatever they're calling it. Everything I've read about it is basically like we're trying to make. Yeah, we know the second one was real cheesy and stuff, so we're trying to make kind of a much more darker Transformers movie. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, I just love Transformers. Yeah. I've liked the first 2 movies. I thought they were great for what they were.
Optimus Prime wasn't real earlier.
I love Optimus Prime.
He's a great man.
Yeah.
Great robot.
Great robot.
All right, shall we open it up to the floor? Do we have any questions? Nick, question.
As kids of the 80s, what is your opinion on the new Jonah Hill 21 Jump Street movie?
The new Jonah Hill 21 Jump Street movie.
Johnny Depp has said that he will be in it if he likes the script.
Yeah, I heard that Johnny Depp had said he would be willing to do a cameo. I've got to say, I was never a 21 Jump Street fan.
I'm sorry. I'm right there with them.
I mean,
I think we've hurt Nick's heart.
It's like everything else. It's going to get. They're going to remake it. It's going to be what it is. I've kind of got.
It's not a bunch of stupid potty jokes like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've kind of gotten over the remake thing because I know it's like, hey, this used to be popular. It used to make money, so let's try to make it popular again. If it's going to be something different. You just kind of have to look at it that way, and it'll be what it is.
Yeah.
But Jonah Hill, I can't really see as 21 Jump Street.
Sorry about the 21 Jump Street. They remade Hawaii Five-0, and that's working out. So did just get hit up on Facebook. Sorry, we'll get right to it. I just got hit up by Robbie, or Robbie's wife, Ashley, and Bill, are we going to have a pizza party tomorrow? And I guess I have to reply with, it'll be like we're having a pizza party, only better.
Yes.
So,
all right. So, Jay, what?
My old cousin was looking around the internet the other day and looking up to see if they could make a Modern Warfare 3. You heard anything about it?
Modern Warfare 3, will there be one?
From what I hear, it's not going to be Modern Warfare 3. They're going actually backwards in time, and it's going to be more revolutionary Civil War action. And we will be fighting with muskets What will happen is if you run through a pond or anything, your gun will get wet, your gunpowder will get wet, and then you don't get to shoot. So you'll have to get a perk for that. Basically, like what will happen is like my team versus your team, and we'll just line 6 guys up in a line across the field from each other. Yeah. I'm sorry, Jay. I had to do it.
I'll give you the real answer, the information that I know. The group, what's left of the old Infinity Ward team, is making a new Call of Duty game, but they have not said if it's going to be modern or not. Activision has kind of said they would prefer it to not be modern.
Well, they also said said they would not make any more, more physical.
Yeah, so I've also heard that they may go into the future now. And, this is set 25, 30 years in the future. But I do know that what's left of that Infinity Ward team is, what's going to be working on that. And also what DICE is with Activision now, so they'll be doing the multiplayer, and that'll be great. Any Rufty?
Mentioning the fact that you guys are kind of like 80s old school style, what would be your favorite arcade game, like those old school arcades and stuff? What would be your favorite game?
Old school arcade game.
I almost wish I had more time. We're in Florida. Real quick story. We're in Florida. Matt is playing Super Mario, my brother, on the arcade, and every time he goes to jump left or right across screen, his leg kicks out to whatever direction. And this kid walks up and he's like watching him play, and Matt ends up kicking the kid while he's playing the arcade. So that would have to be my favorite arcade moment. But Sunset Riders, you probably don't know anything about it. It was at the Richmond Mall. One of the greatest arcade games of all time.
Mine would be Gauntlet from back in the day. Either that or Arch Rivals, the basketball game where you went and punched people. I just thought that was fun.
With that being said, we got to wrap up. We're running out of time. This has been episode 20 of Never Press Pause. Remember, fans, never press pause. I'd like to give a shout out to Tech Talk and Hembree Studios. Thank you so much for getting us back in. And a real special thanks to Mario's for having us. Fans, thank you guys for coming. Had a blast. And this has been Never Press Pause, episode 20.